The old cargo ship floated in space like a wounded whale. Its hull, marked with dents and patches, told stories of decades spent hauling goods across the stars. Now, with weapons hastily bolted to its sides, it looked more like a child's attempt to turn a toy truck into a tank. This was the HMS Persistence, and it was humanity's last hope in this sector. Captain James Walker stood on the bridge, his weathered hands gripping the railing as he looked at the main screen. He wasn't supposed to be here. None of them were. But with the Empire pushing deeper into human space each day, the military had run out of proper warships. "Status report," he called out, his voice steady despite the doubt gnawing at his gut. "Main reactor is running at 85% capacity, sir," replied Engineer Mike Thompson from his station. The old man's fingers danced across his console, coaxing power from systems that should have been retired years ago. "She's not happy, but she's holding." Walker nodded. The ship's reactor was ancient technology, the kind that modern ships wouldn't be caught dead using. But they had no choice. Earth Command had ordered every space-worthy vessel to be converted for combat duty, regardless of its original purpose. "Weapons check," Walker ordered, turning to his makeshift tactical officer. Lisa Brown, who until 3 weeks ago had been coordinating cargo loading sequences, pulled up the weapons display. "Point defense systems are online, though the targeting computers are still glitchy." "Main guns." She paused, frowning. 3 out of 4 responding. The 4th one keeps trying to load cargo containers instead of shells. A few crew members chuckled. It wasn't really funny, but laughter helped keep the fear at bay. They all knew what was coming. Empire ships had been spotted in nearby systems, their advanced technology making quick work of human defenses. "Keep working on it," Walker said. "We need every gun we can get." The bridge crew returned to their tasks, each person trying to master systems they barely understood. The Persistence had been converted in just 2 weeks, with weapons and military hardware grafted onto civilian systems. Half the ship still thought it was a cargo hauler. Walker walked to the engineering station, where Thompson was muttering to himself as he adjusted power readings. "Mike, how's that reactor holding up really?" The engineer looked up, his gray eyes serious. "Honestly, sir, it's weird. These old fusion bottles were built tough, but this one's giving off readings I've never seen before. The radiation signature keeps shifting." "Is it dangerous?" Walker asked, thinking of his crew of 35 souls aboard this floating death trap. Thompson shook his head. "Not dangerous, just strange. It's like..." He paused, searching for words. "It's like the reactor's talking to itself, changing its output patterns randomly. Modern reactors are more efficient, but they're also more rigid in their operation. This old girl, she's got quirks." Before Walker could respond, the tactical station lit up with warnings. Lisa's voice cut through the bridge chatter. "Multiple contacts. Empire signatures detected at the edge of our range." Walker rushed to his command chair. "Show me." The main screen flickered to life, displaying tactical data. 5 Empire warships, their sleek hulls gleaming with advanced technology, were moving into the system. Each one of them could outgun the Persistence 10 times over. "Orders from command, sir," the communications officer called out. "We are to delay the enemy advance by any means necessary until reinforcements arrive." The bridge fell silent. They all knew what that meant. They were being sacrificed to buy time. Walker took a deep breath. "Alert all hands. Battle stations." As klaxons blared throughout the ship, Walker studied the tactical display. The Empire ships were moving in a standard attack formation, probably not even considering the old cargo ship a threat. That might be their only advantage. "Sir," Thompson's excited voice cut through the tension. "The reactor, I think I found something." "Make it quick, Mike." "The radiation signature, the way it keeps changing. I think we can use it. The Empire's targeting systems are designed to track modern reactor emissions. Ours is so old and weird, it might confuse them." Walker leaned forward. "Can you control these changes?" Maybe. Thompson's fingers flew across his console. If I route power through some of the old cargo handling systems, I can make us look like different types of ships, or even make us disappear completely from their scans. It wasn't much, but it was something. Do it, Walker ordered. Lisa, what's the status of those cargo handling systems? Still trying to load shells, sir, but she paused, her eyes widening. Wait, if we're not going to use them for weapons, maybe we can use them for something else. The magnetic grapples were designed to move containers in Zerog. They could maybe catch incoming missiles. Walker felt a spark of hope. It was crazy, but they were already in an impossible situation. Make it happen. Everyone, listen up. We're not a warship, and we never will be. So let's stop trying to be one. We're a cargo hauler, and we're going to fight like one. The next hour was a flurry of activity as the crew repurposed systems never meant for combat. Cargo drones were programmed to act as decoys. Loading bay force fields were modified to provide extra shielding. Every trick and hack they could think of was thrown into the mix. The Empire ships drew closer, their first warning shots lighting up space around the Persistence. Walker watched his crew work, pride mixing with fear in his chest. They were about to find out if their improvised solutions would work, or if they'd all die in the cold vacuum of space. Enemy ships entering optimal firing range, Lisa reported, her voice steady. Walker straightened in his chair. Thompson, start your reactor tricks. Lisa, power up those grapples. Everyone else, remember your training and trust your shipmates. The Empire thinks we're just a broken-down cargo hauler. He allowed himself a small smile. Let's show them how dangerous a cargo hauler can be. As the first Empire missiles streaked toward them, the Persistence's reactor began its strange dance, its shifting signature making the ship flicker like a ghost on enemy scanners. The massive cargo grapples, never designed for combat, reached out into space like giant hands, ready to catch death itself. The battle for humanity's survival was about to begin, and it would start with a ship that had no right to win. But as Walker looked at his determined crew, he realized that sometimes the best weapons weren't the shiniest or newest. Sometimes they were the ones you made yourself, from whatever you had at hand. Thompson's voice rose above the battle station's alert. Sir, you need to see these readings. The reactor, it's doing something I've never seen before. It's adapting to what we need. Walker looked at the readings, not fully understanding them, but recognizing that they might have stumbled onto something important. Something that might just give humanity a fighting chance against the Empire's superior technology. Record everything, he ordered. Win or lose, other ships need to know what we discover here. He turned to face the main screen, where the Empire ships loomed ever larger. Now let's show them what this old hauler can do. The first Empire missile streaked through space, its targeting systems confused by the Persistence's shifting reactor signature. Thompson's trick was working, but they needed more than just good defense to survive this fight. Enemy missile incoming, Lisa called out, her hands hovering over the cargo grapple controls. Attempting intercept with grapple system. The massive electromagnetic grapple, designed to handle cargo containers weighing thousands of tons, reached out into space. As the missile approached, Lisa adjusted the grapple's field strength, trying to find the right setting to catch something moving at combat speeds. The grapple caught the missile. Instead of exploding, the weapon hung suspended in the electromagnetic field, its engine still burning. Got it, Lisa shouted, excitement breaking through her professional demeanor. The grapple's holding. Walker leaned forward in his command chair. Can you turn it around? A grin spread across Lisa's face as she understood his intention. Her fingers danced across the controls, and the grapple swung around, pointing the captured missile back at the Empire ships. With a few quick adjustments, she released the electromagnetic field. The missile shot back toward its source, its engines still at full power. The Empire ship, not expecting its own weapon to be returned, took a direct hit to its forward shields. Hit confirmed, Lisa reported. Enemy shields at 80%. The bridge crew cheered, but Walker kept his focus. Thompson, how's the reactor holding up? Better than expected, sir, the engineer replied. Each time we use the grapples, the reactor adjusts its output to match. It's like it's learning what we need. And I found something else in the cargo holds. What is it? The maintenance drones. We got about 50 of them, designed for hull repairs and cargo handling. With some quick reprogramming, we could use them as fighters. Walker considered this. The drones were tough, built to work in space, and their repair tools could probably do damage if used creatively. Do it. How long? Give me 10 minutes, Thompson said, already typing commands into his console. Another volley of Empire missiles approached. This time, Lisa was ready. The cargo grapples moved with more confidence, catching 2 missiles and sending them back toward different targets. The Empire ships scattered, breaking their formation. They're splitting up, Lisa reported, trying to surround us. Walker nodded. It was standard Empire tactics, but it might work in their favor. Thompson, those drones ready. First wave launching now, sir. From the Persistence's cargo holds, maintenance drones emerged like angry hornets. Their usual repair tools had been repurposed. Welding torches became weapons, magnetic clamps became grappling devices. They swarmed toward the nearest Empire ship, their small size making them hard to target. The Empire ship's point defense systems fired, but they were calibrated for missiles and fighters, not the erratic movements of maintenance drones. Several drones reached the ship's hull, their welding tools cutting into sensor arrays and weapons mounts. Sir, the sensor officer called out. I'm picking up a scout ship approaching from the system's edge. Empire design, probably here to observe. Walker saw an opportunity. Thompson, can you mask our signature completely? Make us disappear. For a few minutes, yes. The reactor's radiation pattern can match background space if I tune it just right. Do it. Lisa, pull back the drones. Let's show them our next trick. The maintenance drones retreated to the cargo holds as Thompson adjusted the reactor output. On enemy scanners, the Persistence seemed to fade away, becoming just another piece of space debris. The Empire scout ship moved closer, probably trying to figure out where their target had gone. When it was less than 10,000 kilometers away, Walker gave the order. Now. The Persistence's reactor flared to life, its signature suddenly visible again. Before the scout ship could react, Lisa launched a full spread of drones while simultaneously using the cargo grapples to seize 2 more incoming missiles. The scout ship, caught completely by surprise, took heavy damage from both the redirected missiles and the swarm of drones. Its engines flickered and died as the drones cut power conduits and damaged vital systems. Scout ship disabled, Lisa reported. Other Empire vessels are pulling back, reforming their line. Walker allowed himself a small smile. They'd just shown the Empire something they'd never seen before. A cargo ship that could fight back. But he knew this was just the beginning. Thompson, what else can we learn from that reactor? And how many more drones can we modify? The engineer was already deep in his calculations. The reactor's behavior is fascinating, sir. It's like it has patterns we never noticed during normal cargo operations. And as for the drones, we've barely scratched the surface. Their repair protocols can be adapted for all sorts of combat maneuvers. Sir, Lisa called out, I'm detecting changes in the Empire ship's formation. They're falling back. The tactical display showed the Empire vessels moving away, maintaining a safe distance while probably trying to figure out what they were dealing with. Their standard tactics had failed against this strange opponent that refused to fight like a proper warship. Walker stood up, walking to the center of the bridge. They'll be back, and they'll be ready for some of our tricks. We need more ideas. The bridge crew, energized by their success, began throwing out suggestions. The cargo holds could be converted into makeshift fighter bays for the drones. The old radiation shielding could be reconfigured to absorb enemy weapon fire. Every obsolete system on the ship suddenly held new potential. Message from command. Sir, the communications officer reported. They're asking for a full report on our engagement. They're especially interested in the reactor modifications and drone reprogramming. Walker nodded. What they'd discovered here could help other converted cargo ships fight back against the Empire. Every civilian vessel in the fleet could become a potential threat, using their outdated systems in ways the enemy would never expect. Send them everything, he ordered. But tell them we're not done yet. We've only just started figuring out what this old girl can do. As the crew worked to improve their improvised weapons and tactics, the Empire ships remained at the edge of their sensor range, a reminder that the real battle was still to come. But now, aboard the Persistence, there was something new in the air, something that felt like hope. Thompson's voice cut through the activity. Captain, you need to see these new reactor readings. If I'm right about this pattern, we might be able to do something even more unexpected. Walker smiled. The ship that shouldn't win was about to become even more dangerous. The Empire fleet returned 3 hours later, just as Thompson finished implementing his latest modifications to the reactor. This time, they'd brought 7 ships instead of 5. The disabled scout ship still drifted in space, a testament to the Persistence's unexpected effectiveness. They're moving in a widespread formation, Lisa reported from her tactical station. Looks like they're trying to prevent us from focusing on a single target. Walker studied the tactical display. The Empire ships had learned from their first encounter, but they still didn't understand what they were really facing. Thompson, is the new reactor configuration ready? Yes, sir, the engineer replied, his voice tight with excitement. We can now create multiple false signatures. They'll think they're facing 3 ships instead of 1. The discovery had come from studying the reactor's strange behavior. Its shifting radiation patterns could be controlled more precisely than they'd first thought, allowing them to project phantom ships that would appear real to Empire sensors. All hands, battle stations, Walker ordered. Lisa, deploy the drone swarms in 3 groups. Let's make our ghost ships look real. The Persistence's cargo holds open, releasing over 100 modified maintenance drones. Thompson had worked through his rest period, reprogramming more of them for combat duties. They split into 3 groups, matching the phantom signatures the reactor was projecting. Empire ships are launching missiles, Lisa called out. Multiple targets. They're trying to saturate our defenses. Walker smiled. Show them our new trick. Catch what you can and let the rest chase our ghosts. The cargo grapples reached out, now operating with practiced precision. They caught the nearest missiles while others streaked past, following the false signatures. When the missiles reached their targets, they found nothing but empty space and confused sensor readings. Enemy ships adjusting formation, Lisa reported. They're trying to close in. Perfect. Thompson, initiate reactor pulse sequence. The engineer's fingers danced across his console. The Persistence's reactor output suddenly spiked, creating a wave of radiation that washed over the Empire ship's sensitive sensors. For a crucial few seconds, their targeting systems were completely blind. Drone swarms, attack pattern Delta, Walker commanded. The maintenance drones, their tools now deadly weapons, swarmed toward the nearest Empire ship. Without accurate sensor data, the ship's point defense systems fired wildly, missing most of the small targets. The drones reached the hull, cutting through weapon mounts and communication arrays with their repurposed repair tools. First target losing power, Lisa announced. Their main reactor is shutting down. But the Empire ships weren't done. The remaining vessels adjusted their tactics, forming a tight defensive circle. Their combined point defense fire created a wall of energy that would destroy anything that approached. They're adapting, Walker noted. Thompson, remember that idea you had about the cargo bay force fields? The engineer grinned. Ready when you are, sir. Though I still say it's crazy. Crazy is all we've got. Do it. Thompson activated his modified controls. The cargo bay force fields, designed to maintain atmosphere while loading and unloading containers, suddenly extended outward from the ship. They weren't powerful enough to stop weapons fire, but they didn't need to be. All drones, fall back behind the fields, Walker ordered. The swarm retreated, taking shelter behind the flickering force fields. Empire weapons fire splashed against them, partially deflected and scattered. The fields wouldn't last long under this assault, but that wasn't the point. Fields are charged with reactor energy, Thompson reported. Ready to release. Walker leaned forward. Now. The force fields collapsed inward, but as they did, they released all the energy they'd absorbed from the Empire weapons. The resulting wave of power washed over the enemy formation, overloading shields and scrambling sensors. Multiple targets disabled. Lisa called out, her voice rising with excitement. 4 ships reporting major system failures. The remaining Empire vessels, realizing they faced something they didn't understand, began to retreat. Their formation broke apart as each captain decided survival was more important than victory. Should we pursue? Lisa asked. Walker shook his head. Let them go. They'll tell others what happened here. Besides, we need to check on our crew. The battle had taken its toll on the Persistence. Several systems were running hot, and the reactor needed time to cool down. But they'd achieved something remarkable. A converted cargo ship had just defeated 7 Empire warships. Message from command. The communications officer reported. They're asking how we did it. Multiple ships are requesting our combat data. Send them everything, Walker ordered. Every ship like ours needs to know these tricks. Thompson looked up from his engineering station. Sir, I've been analyzing the reactor's behavior during the battle. There's something else it can do, something bigger. But I'll need time to work it out. Walker nodded. The Empire would return, probably with an even larger fleet. But now they had time to prepare, to refine their techniques, to make their impossible ship even more effective. Sir, Lisa called out, her voice softer now. The crew, they're calling us the Ghost Ship. The Empire ships were sending messages about a phantom that couldn't be killed. The nickname was fitting. They'd become something the Empire had never seen before. A cargo ship that fought like a ghost, appearing and disappearing, turning the enemy's strength against them. Damage report, Walker requested, already thinking about repairs. Hull integrity at 82%, Thompson replied. Main systems functioning within acceptable parameters. The reactor's actually running better than before, if you can believe it. It's like it's getting used to combat operations. Walker stood up, looking at his crew. Their faces showed exhaustion, but also pride. They'd taken a ship that should have been easy prey and turned it into something deadly. Get some rest, he ordered. All of you. We've won this battle, but the war isn't over. The Empire will be back, and next time they'll be trying to figure out how to fight a ghost. As the crew began their rest rotation, Walker stayed on the bridge, watching the tactical display where the retreating Empire ships were disappearing into the darkness of space. They'd discovered something important today. Sometimes the best weapon wasn't the newest or most advanced. Sometimes it was the one nobody expected, used in ways nobody had imagined. The Persistence floated in space, its battle-scarred hull now wearing its wounds like badges of honor. It was no longer just a converted cargo ship. It was becoming a legend, a ghost that haunted the Empire's nightmares. And it was just getting started. News of the Persistence's victory spread through the human fleet like wildfire. Within days, cargo ships across human space began requesting information about their modifications. Walker found himself spending hours sending detailed reports to other captains, explaining how they'd turned their weaknesses into strengths. Another request for our drone programming, Lisa said, checking her messages. This time it's from the Star Merchant, a bulk carrier in the Rigel sector. Walker nodded. Send them everything. And make sure they understand about the reactor modifications. Those are key to making it all work. The bridge of the Persistence had become a command center of sorts. Screens displayed status reports from other converted cargo ships trying to replicate their success. Some had already achieved promising results. Thompson burst onto the bridge, his eyes bright with excitement. "Captain, you need to see this. The reactor's doing something new." Walker followed his engineer to the main engineering display. The screen showed energy patterns he'd never seen before, swirling in complex formations. "Remember how the reactor adapted to combat?" Thompson explained. "Well, it's still adapting. I think it's developing new patterns on its own. If we can understand them, we might be able to do even more." Before Walker could respond, the tactical alert sounded. Lisa's hands flew across her console. Multiple Empire signatures detected. "Largest fleet we've seen yet. 15 warships, including 2 heavy cruisers. They're not taking any chances this time," Walker muttered. "Alert the other converted ships in range. It's time to see if our lessons paid off." 3 other cargo ships responded to their call. The Star Trader, the Bulk Pioneer, and the Heavy Lifter had all been modified following the Persistence's example. They weren't as experienced, but they were ready to fight. "Form up on our position," Walker ordered. "Remember the drills we practiced. Thompson, start the reactor masking sequence." The 4 converted cargo ships moved into formation, their ancient reactors synchronizing their output patterns. On Empire sensors, they would appear as a constantly shifting mix of phantom signatures, making it impossible to tell which ships were real and which were ghosts. "Empire fleet is approaching an attack formation," Lisa reported. "They're moving more cautiously this time." "They've learned," Walker said. "But so have we. All ships, deploy drone swarms." From the cargo holds of all 4 ships, hundreds of modified maintenance drones poured into space. They moved in coordinated patterns they'd practiced over the past weeks, forming complex defensive screens and attack formations. The Empire fleet opened fire, their advanced weapons lighting up space. But the cargo ships were ready. Their cargo grapples caught incoming missiles while their force fields deflected energy weapons. The drones darted through the gaps in the enemy's fire, targeting sensitive systems with surgical precision. Star Trader reports successful hits on the lead cruiser, Lisa called out. "Their new magnetic pulse generator is working. Enemy shields are fluctuating." The magnetic pulse generator had been Thompson's latest innovation, adapting cargo bay magnetic systems to disrupt shield harmonics. The Star Trader had been the first to successfully implement it. "Heavy Lifter is taking heavy fire," Lisa reported. "Their reactor masking is failing." "Move us in to cover them," Walker ordered. "Thompson, can you extend our force fields?" "Better than that," the engineer replied. "Watch this." Thompson activated his modified controls, and the Persistence's reactor output suddenly shifted. The energy pattern he'd discovered earlier manifested as a visible distortion in space, spreading out to envelop the Heavy Lifter. "What did you do?" Walker asked, watching as Empire weapons fire seemed to bend around the protected ship. "The reactors learned to generate a kind of displacement field," Thompson explained. "It's bending space slightly, not enough for fancy tricks, but enough to make their targeting solutions useless." The Empire fleet's formation began to break apart as their carefully planned attack fell into chaos. Their sensors couldn't get clear readings, their weapons couldn't find solid targets, and their shields were being stripped away by weapons that shouldn't have existed. "Bulk Pioneer is attempting that cargo bay trick we developed," Lisa reported. "They're using their loading cranes too. They're throwing cargo containers at the enemy ships." Walker watched as massive shipping containers, accelerated by powerful loading mechanisms, smashed into Empire vessels. The containers weren't heavily armored, but at those speeds, they didn't need to be. Empire ships scattered, their formation completely broken. "Multiple enemy ships powering down," Lisa announced. They're retreating. All of them." The bridge crew cheered as the mighty Empire fleet turned and fled, leaving behind their damaged vessels. What had started as one ship's desperate innovation had become a revolution in space warfare. "Message from command," the communications officer called out. They're ordering all cargo ships in the fleet to begin immediate conversion using our specifications. We're to begin training crews as soon as possible." Walker smiled. The Empire had thought they were facing a single lucky ship, but now they would have to deal with an entire fleet of vessels that refused to fight by the normal rules. "Sir," Thompson said, his voice serious, "the reactor patterns, they're still evolving, and I'm getting similar reports from other ships. It's like each reactor is learning from the others, developing new tricks we never imagined. Keep studying them," Walker ordered. "Every new discovery is another advantage we can share." The 4 ships regrouped, their battle-scarred hulls testament to their unexpected victory. Crews exchanged congratulations and began sharing their experiences, each ship having discovered its own unique ways to use their improvised weapons. "The Empire's going to come back," Lisa said, looking at the tactical display where the enemy ships were retreating. "They'll try to adapt to our tactics." "Let them try," Walker replied. "We'll just keep changing the rules. That's the advantage of using systems that were never meant for combat. There's always another way to use them that nobody expects." As repair drones swarmed over their hulls, fixing battle damage, the 4 ships began transmitting their combat data to other converted cargo vessels throughout human space. Each victory, each innovation, each desperate improvisation became part of a growing library of unconventional warfare techniques. The Empire had wanted a conventional war, but instead they'd gotten something they couldn't understand: a fleet of ships that fought like ghosts, using technology so old it had been forgotten, in ways that had never been imagined. And somewhere in the depths of these ancient ships, reactors that should have been obsolete were learning, changing, evolving into something new. Something that would change the face of space warfare forever. 2 months after their first victory, the Persistence led a fleet of 30 converted cargo ships toward the Empire's main battle group. Each ship had once been a simple hauler, but now they were something else, something that had the Empire's admirals losing sleep. "Enemy fleet holding position near the jump point," Lisa reported from her tactical station. 43 warships, including their new flagship. Walker nodded, studying the tactical display. The Empire had gathered their largest fleet yet, determined to end the threat of these converted cargo ships once and for all. "All ships reporting ready," the communications officer announced. "The reactor synchronization network is active." Thompson had outdone himself with that innovation. By linking the ancient reactors of all 30 ships, they could create phantom signatures on a massive scale, making their fleet appear to be hundreds of vessels strong. "Signal all ships," Walker ordered. "Begin Operation Ghost Storm." The converted cargo fleet split into 5 groups, their reactors projecting false signatures that made each group appear to be a full battle squadron. The Empire fleet's sensors lit up with hundreds of apparent targets, their computers struggling to determine which were real. "Enemy fleet is launching fighters," Lisa called out. "Lots of them. They're trying to get visual confirmation of our numbers." "Deploy the drones," Walker commanded. "Show them our latest trick." From the cargo holds of every converted ship, swarms of maintenance drones emerged. But these weren't the simple repurposed repair units they'd started with. Thompson and the other engineers had been busy, creating new variants specialized for different combat roles. Some drones carried magnetic pulse generators, ready to disrupt enemy shields. Others were equipped with modified cargo grapples, capable of catching and redirecting enemy missiles. A third type used cutting tools to slice through hull armor. But the real surprise was yet to come. "All ships, activate the resonance fields," Walker ordered. Thompson had discovered this capability by accident while studying the linked reactor patterns. When properly synchronized, the old reactors could generate fields that made Empire energy weapons refract and scatter, turning their own firepower against them. The Empire fleet opened fire, their energy beams and missiles streaking toward the converted cargo ships. But the resonance fields caught the energy weapons, bending them in impossible ways, while cargo grapples snatched missiles out of space. "They're trying to jam our reactor network," Thompson reported. But they can't. These old systems are too primitive for their modern jamming techniques to affect. Sometimes, Walker thought, being outdated was the best defense. Star Trader reports successful penetration of enemy lines. Lisa announced. Their cargo bay catapults are launching the new drone carriers. This was their master stroke. They'd converted cargo containers into drone carriers, each one holding hundreds of smaller drones. The containers were launched at high speed toward enemy formations, breaking apart to release their swarms precisely where they were needed. The Empire fleet's formation began to crumble as they found themselves fighting enemies they couldn't properly target, using weapons that sometimes turned against them, while swarms of drones methodically dismantled their ships. Their flagship is moving, Lisa reported. They're trying to coordinate a counterattack. Now, Walker ordered, all ships execute pattern ghost dance. The 30 cargo ships moved in perfect synchronization, their linked reactors creating a massive web of false signatures and energy distortions. To Empire sensors, it would appear as if space itself was coming apart. Enemy ships are losing targeting lock, Lisa called out. Their formation is breaking down completely. Walker watched as the mighty Empire fleet fell into chaos. Their advanced technology, designed to fight conventional battles, proved useless against opponents that refused to fight conventionally. Multiple Empire ships powering down weapons, Lisa reported, excitement in her voice. They're signaling surrender. The bridge crew cheered, but Walker kept his focus. Maintain combat stance. Thompson, status of the reactor network. Stable and getting stronger, the engineer replied. The patterns we're seeing now. Sir, I think these old reactors are creating something entirely new. The way they're linking and adapting, it's beyond anything in our database. The Empire flagship, its weapons silent, began broadcasting on all frequencies. The message was simple. They wanted to talk. They're requesting a ceasefire, the communications officer reported. Their admiral wants to meet. Walker smiled. The Empire had finally realized that their technological superiority meant nothing against human ingenuity and adaptation. Their mighty warships had been defeated by cargo haulers that should have been easy prey. Signal all ships, Walker ordered. Stand down combat operations but maintain defensive posture. And get me a channel to the Empire flagship. As the two fleets hung in space, their positions marked by the scattered debris of battle, Walker reflected on how far they'd come. The Persistence, a ship that should never have survived its first fight, had sparked a revolution in space warfare. Message from command, the communications officer announced. They're calling this the turning point of the war. Every cargo ship in human space is being converted using our methods. Thompson looked up from his engineering station. It's more than that, sir. What we've discovered here, these reactor patterns, and the way they adapt, this could change everything. Not just warfare, but space travel, energy generation, everything. Walker nodded. They'd started with a desperate attempt to survive, but they'd ended up discovering something that could reshape humanity's future, all because they'd been forced to look at their old, outdated systems in new ways. Sir, Lisa called out. The other ships are requesting permission to perform a victory formation. Granted, Walker said. They've earned it. The 30 converted cargo ships moved into a precise formation, their battle-scarred hulls reflecting the light of distant stars. They were no longer just cargo haulers playing at being warships. They had become something new, a force that had changed the rules of space warfare forever. The Empire fleet, once so proud and mighty, remained silent as negotiations began. They had learned a harsh lesson. Sometimes the most dangerous opponent wasn't the one with the most advanced weapons, but the one who found new ways to use old tools. As Walker prepared for the meeting with the Empire admiral, he looked at his crew, cargo handlers and engineers who had become warriors, not by choice but by necessity. They had proven that innovation and adaptation were more powerful than any weapon. The Persistence had lived up to its name, persisting against impossible odds And in doing so, it had shown the way forward for all of humanity. The ship that shouldn't win had done more than just win. It had changed the game entirely.